sometimes you have kids and you don't know what the hell they're up to, or it's kind of hard to like understand this generation. And you've been around this for so long that, I thought it would be very valuable for people to listen to like what your average 21-year-old goes through and what they look like and what it can do if they're exposed to the right information. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Beyond Biohacking Brothers podcast, where I'm joined as usual by my brother Miguel and my other brother, Dr. Rudy. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Anthony Rodriguez. And the reason why Anthony is special is because, as you guys know, we've done a ton of videos throughout the years, and we speak to everybody about what we know. And, Anthony's generation is a very special generation to us because we know how much they're suffering and all of the ailments in that age category. And they are the future. Now, Anthony has been around us for a long time, which is not easy to deal with. And so we wanted to talk to Anthony because, we were talking to him off camera, and we're always talking about workouts and diets and, porn and alcohol and drugs and who you should hang out with and, lifestyle. And Anthony has learned a lot throughout the years, but he's also your typical 21-year-old in college.
Yeah, just turned 21.
Just
my birthday last week.
Going through the grind.
Yeah.
And this is your typical 21-year-old. I mean, he's extraordinary, but he's your typical 21-year-old going through life and being subjected to peer pressure and, different things in your daily life, right? And so we wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you have seen your life change and the contrast between what you see your friends do and what you do because of what you learned here through us.
Well, that's a hard question to answer, but I would say from the span of 18 to 21, that was when I went to college. So my life changed drastically once I moved out from my parents' house, and I started living on my own, living with roommates. And it was interesting because when you're around other people, you can't really, it's harder to focus on yourself sometimes because you got to be aware of who's going to wash their clothes at what time. And it makes your schedule and your routine a little bit harder, but it also makes you more responsible because then you have to say, all right, I have to have time. I have to let everybody else know when I'm doing something. And it kind of gives you your own routine, and it helps me. And I feel like you guys are a very advocate, routine, consistency, and working out. So that is something that I try to implement that I don't see a lot of my peers do personally in college.
Yeah, because we were talking off camera, and you basically said, all of my friends are fat, which is kind of a hard thing to say, but it's the reality of when you see the obesity crisis in your age category.
I wouldn't say they're all fat, but
friends are
listening. But I
You're gonna
think
lose some
that
friends in this podcast.
I think that it's interesting to see some people, and they not even like 2 years ago, they had the same exact body as me. And in a matter of time, just from drinking alcohol, these guys are they're bigger now. And it's not like they're obese, but it's just everybody always asks me, they're like, dude, you have a six pack. Like, how do you have abs? And I'm like, I don't know. I try to eat good.
I listen to the MHI guys.
Yeah, I listen to Carlos and Miguel and Rudy.
And guys, this is such an important thing, right?
Yeah.
Because what we do, we help people feel better. We're not a clinic that just treats sick people.
Right.
And our age group is older than you.
Yeah.
It's 30 and more, although we do have 20-something-year-old patients.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be amazing if we can get to men, to young women who are making the transition from adolescent to now adulthood?
Yeah.
And what's the best way to transition so that you start the good habits at a young age?
Yeah.
Instead of it's by the time you're 30 or 40, then you come to us and we try to change you. So I've seen you, man. I've seen you, Anthony, that you've gone from a boy to a man in front of our eyes.
Yeah,
You're here manning the camera with your parents, man. You're amazing. And to see that now you want to be an agent of change for your generation to bring, because what you're saying, your friends will listen and be like, what is he talking about? But it took a lot of guts. So thank you.
Thank you.
And you said it beautifully, really, like the impact that it has when you start early. And just so you know, like the reason why we tell you the things we tell you is because we see the flip side on the other side of the clinic. And I always say to myself, if I was 17 years old, what would I have wanted someone that knows what I know tell me, you know?
Yeah.
And so, let's talk about alcohol. What's like, how do you navigate that? And what's the culture like now in your age category about alcohol?
I mean, I think when people say let's go out, that's like attached to the
Default.
idea of let's drink alcohol. You know, like
Not just
more than
drink.
just drink
Yeah.
alcohol.
Let's get
Let's get messed up.
let's have some fun, right?
Let's do drugs.
Let's
Let's
get
do
smashed
vaping.
up.
Let's drink.
Yeah, the vaping. It's weird because now smoking is like prohibited in most areas, so you can't smoke. But then you see like a group of people just vaping in a corner,
Right.
and it's like, okay, I don't really know if that's better or worse because it's like you can just do it at any moment, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are always talking about like how this is something new and a lot of people don't know what the effects of it are. So when you go back to cigarettes, people thought cigarettes were good, right? They thought they were like okay to smoke.
Promoted is good.
And now I feel like it's a weird time because I kind of like I vape, you know, sometimes. And it's just like
Socially.
exactly. And it's weird because I think to myself, I'm like, is this hurting me more? Because now it's more controlled. It doesn't smell. It's not like I need to light it up.
too easy.
Right. So, and I think about that in the same sense of like drinking, because I think drinking is always when you're around people, like my friends tell me all the time, they're like, dude, I need to drink before I go out. Like, I don't feel like I could talk to like most of the time girls, right? I don't think I'm loose enough to talk to them. So I need a couple shots before we go.
Loosen up.
Right.
Well, guys, I still remember 10 years ago when I was in college. Is it 10 or 12?
Come on.
More like 35.
12 years
I'll
ago.
give you that.
35 years ago when I was in college, I felt the same because you know what? And there's a pressure. Again, I grew up in Haiti. In Haiti, we don't have an age limit. I started drinking at 14, which is people are saying, oh my God, no, because you know what? I developed a respect for alcohol because it wasn't prohibited. I knew I could drink. When I came to college, it wasn't this, oh my God, I could never drink before. Let me get completely drunk.
Right.
But
Isn't it
there's
18
no
at
question.
your age in Haiti?
In Haiti, there's no rule.
Well,
baby.
no, but there is an
supposed
age.
to be 18,
Here's
but-
21.
Yeah.
Over there is 18.
But the key is
Still different.
let's not take away that being young, being nervous, that you need a little
that's-
lubrication and something to kind of make you a little more
You're
social.
trying to discover yourself.
And I get
Figure it
that.
out.
But like everything, it's in moderation,
Yeah.
right? So I understand you going out. Can you have a few drinks? I still have a few drinks from time to time. But our society has come to a point that it's everything in excess.
Yes.
And I give you a lot of credit. As you said, and you admitted, you do vape, but you try to do it with control.
Yeah.
You can have a few drinks, but you do it with control.
Yeah, this whole thing, let's hang out and have a few beers. Like, why not hang out and not have the beers? right?
No, I will have a few beers.
Exactly.
Me and
That is,
Miguel will
I'll have
hang out.
You're the
We'll
one
have
loser
our
that goes
old
to it.
fashioned.
Hey, we have our old fashioned. We still have
You guys
our
have the old fashioned, that's right. But you guys don't sit around and drink a case of beer.
well, that's
right?
because the hangover is 5 days. At your age, there is no hangover.
Like that's the crazy thing too. And I watched something, and I think you guys were telling me about it as well. You were saying that, you know, at this time, you're going to be able to do a lot of things where it's not going to affect you in the moment. But later on in your life,
comes later.
yeah, you're going to see the repercussions of
10 years later.
all those nights you drank, all the nights you smoked. And how is that going to affect you later on?
Yeah.
So I think about it more. And I'm also lucky, like Rudy, because I lived in Colombia for 2 years and I was able to kind of like understand how to drink the right way, because over there 18 is the legal age. So I think that idea that you guys are always implementing about making sure that your body can be at its best, right? It's like hard.
It's infectious.
Because when you're surrounded by other college kids, you're like, dude, I don't feel bad at all, man. Like I was drinking all night. I threw up, woke up the next day. I did not feel good, but you know, give me like 5 hours and I'll be fine.
Let me ask you something, because I want to go back to the vaping, because I actually was at we were at a friend's house where we were for your birthday, and I saw a pack of cigarettes, and it said it had 0.6 milligrams per cigarette. A vape, well, I don't know the big ones now; they're even worse. But the ones that I know of had 60 milligrams, and some people go through them one in a day.
60 milligrams of what?
Of
Nicotine?
nicotine.
Yeah.
So you're getting 2 to 3 times what a pack would give you. And then my whole point of saying that is drinking doesn't create the same physiological addictive behavior or mental change and dependency as alcohol does, right? So out of how many kids do you see smoking today? Because my point is that the more people are vaping, the more their willpower is being debilitated, and they're more prone to doing other drugs because they have that constant anxiety urge inside, which is what causes. I had a big addiction problem with that, so I know the feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really hard, especially when you can do it wherever you want.
Right.
You know,
Easy.
It's accepted a lot easier than smoking a cigarette.
and what, like you were saying, it has 60 milligrams of nicotine, which is like
3 times the amount of
three
a pack.
times the amount. And I have friends who
As a
tell me,
21-year-old, would have never paid attention to that.
yeah, I didn't even know that until now, but
That's why it's so much more addictive.
Yeah.
They taste good. They hit harder. They're highly addictive.
I'm under I'm under the impression that when you smoke nicotine, it like stimulates your brain. It kind of makes you want to stay awake. Is that what it does?
So it is a stimulant. And again, we're not going to just focus on nicotine because nicotine, the substance, it's used in many
For therapeutic
cultures
reasons also.
For therapeutic
yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
What's bad with the vape, and it was even with cigarettes, it's all the additives, all the
flavorings,
chemicals,
the
flavorings. And then now we didn't have any studies because we went from smoking cigarettes. Vape helped a lot of people quit cigarette smoking. And then they went, because at least you're not burning, which is bad for your lungs.
which is
But
combustion.
now it's like a whole
Vaping.
host of chemicals, including benzene, that have shown to cause popcorn lungs, that have shown to cause now an increase in cardiovascular disease. So all those things that your generation is not worried, but at 30 or 40, they'll start being worried. And what are we seeing in our society? Rates of cancer are increasing. We're seeing kids at 30 years old having cancer now. Lung disease, heart disease in their 30s because of bad habits and the accumulated toxin.
That's what I'm saying. They're just creating their ability to have willpower is being debilitated because this substance is very potent, and it should be literally next to like crack cocaine because it's extremely addictive and it's not being regulated. And now you find them at any gas station, any place, anywhere, even almost at church. You can
Talk about an assault on your willpower. You also said something super interesting off camera where you're talking about porn and how you were kind of ridiculed in your group because you're like, I don't watch porn, right? Or I don't want to watch porn. And it was like a common thing, right?
Yeah. My friend, I told him, I was like, yeah, man, I quit watching porn because of all the video, like everything, all the information about it and how it's basically like even more, the effects are worse than cocaine or something. If like you watch it.
They definitely change brain. You change your brain to destroy your and also create a completely irrational representation of what having sex is.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Again, 15 years ago when I was a teenager, right? 15 years ago. So the way I watched porn, I had to go in my dad's closet, climb, open some things. I find a Victoria's Secret catalog. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Now you have a full porn with everything
3D.
in your hands 24 hours a
production
day.
than ever.
Dopamine getting released nonstop. So it's the internet is a beautiful thing, but it made it that this is so accessible and we've normalized it. And as you said, like the way sex is being portrayed in a lot of this, it's not the reality.
And
You
that
don't,
with
you don't
video
know.
games.
Websites, 90% of websites when the internet started were porn. Today they equate about 30% of all the websites on the internet. So it is pretty pervasive.
And imagine, so it's like one thing feeds the other. Like, oh, I either need to drink alcohol so I can have the bravery to approach a girl, or I could just put on my Oculus and just go and have a, experience, watching porn. I mean, how are you exposed to, like, tell me about video games, because I know that was a big thing for me when I was a kid. I don't know if that's.
Well, actually, I've known you guys for quite some time, and I think the one who introduced me to video games was this guy. Yeah, remember Grand Theft Auto? GTA 3, 4.
That was a long time.
Yeah, you had like the old TV.
TV scan?
Yeah,
That
was a long time ago. And I remember after playing that, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I was like,
I remember I played it so much, I felt like stealing cars when I would go on the street.
Yeah,
I felt like I was still in the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really
do you have a
fun.
lot
But wait,
a
now
lot of
they're
your friends-
even more addictive because now you're playing against people online. So it's not like you're playing against
Yeah,
an
it's like
imaginary
not
version.
story mode.
You're actually
Yeah.
competing against people. In fact, there was that movie. What was it called? The racing movie where they grabbed video game players that race cars on video games, put them in actual race cars,
Gran
and
Turismo.
Gran
Right, that's the
Turismo,
one.
and the kid actually won the Gran Turismo
Yeah.
by playing video games.
How many of your friends do a lot of your friends play video games?
Yeah. With a lot of my friends play Madden. It's like a football game. So we'll go into my room because I have a PS5 and like we play Madden and it'll
Hours.
dude
It's,
like 3
war game or
hours
something?
and it'll
No,
just
it's a football game.
yeah, it's the football one. There's like got Madden 24. I don't know. They also got college football. But I kind of I don't like the game because, you know, as soon as they get the ball and then they run past you, you're done, you know. But
So again, guys, let's not demonize video games. I played Atari. Yeah. Who knew Atari
my
back
God.
then?
You just aged
40
yourself.
years ago, right? But we all, and everybody, and then as you said, you play 3 hours. That's not a big deal. Actually, there are studies now showing that a lot of the kids playing video games increases their hand-eye coordination, and they make really good surgeons because they can really manipulate that. So, but like
There's
everything,
pros and cons.
but
be a
everything
surgeon,
is
guys.
too much. Yes, too much of anything is not good. And the problem we're seeing with your generation is things have become so easy, right? Overdrink, smoke or vape too much, spend way too much time on video games, watching porn, overindulgence, and don't really prioritize human touch and human connections. So this is something, going back to alcohol even. Alcohol is a toxin that we've normalized in our society. When you don't drink, people ask you, are you sick? It's something like so weird. We've so normalized this. So it's great to see that a young man, because he's heard his elders talk, and you're trying to
over the head.
change.
That's what you learned, right?
Yeah, you're trying to change your habits. So this is good because we really want to inspire the next generation because we don't want them to become our patients.
And just on that thought, because I agree with you. Now, the special thing about their generation is, which, I'm 43 and I'm freaking addicted to this thing, right? To this phone, right? So, like, walk me through your day, Anthony. I just want to know, like, in terms of human connection, because that's a problem now for us who are adults and understand this, right? But what about your generation you pretty much grew up with a touchscreen, right?
Yeah, I think when you say human connection, it's really backwards now, because when I think of human connection, I think of texting somebody. And I think of in order for me to be in the circle with all my friends and like keep in touch with everybody, I need to constantly be reaching out and talking to them through the phone, because that's really how you keep relationships now. And it's really weird, and it's like, it makes me think, am I on the phone too much? Or am I not on it enough?
Right. And then there's social media on top of it. Another layer is the social media thing.
FaceTime? More just text.
I wouldn't say. I think FaceTime's like a special.
But the girls you do.
Yeah. Let's say so.
Right?
Make your own porn, huh?
Okay,
We know about
yeah,
that.
right.
Okay. Well, listen, I really wanted to have this conversation because, there's a lot of parents, sometimes you have kids and you don't know what the hell they're up to, or it's kind of hard to like understand this generation. And you've been around this for so long that, I thought it would be very valuable for people to listen to, like, what your average 21-year-old goes through and what they look like and what it can do if they're exposed to the right information, if they're exposed to the right influences.
Did you get a phone, by the way?
I think I was like 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
that's interesting because it gets keep you getting younger. Now I see,
2 years old.
yeah, 2 years old. They know how to use the phone better than us.
But the crazy thing is that, you know, and I see it with parents all the time, and I don't want to criticize it because I can, you know, when a baby starts crying and going bananas, and all of a sudden you put the screen in front of them and they just
calm down.
boom, right?
So for the
really
parent,
crazy.
it makes it so much easier to.
Oh my
just be on
gosh.
the phone.
So guys, let's go over actionable things that you've done, right? So Anthony has been helping film and produce that podcast for the past 2-3 years. You've known those guys for a long time. Let's go almost, give me one by one. Tell me things you used to do that you're no longer doing that helped you.
Yeah. And that changed your life. You said one of them that changed your life.
So I would say I used to watch porn. I stopped doing that, and now I just like go in the shower and look at the wall, and it's way better. And what is something else? I would
Use your imagination. Jesus.
I would say that I manage my time more. I'm striving to learn new things instead of just hoping for something to happen. And like
that.
and when I'm playing games with my friends, I'm always thinking about, okay, what am I gonna do after this? Like, or even sometimes I think one of the things that I feel like really helped me after turning 21 is realizing that it's okay to be selfish about your personal time. It's okay. It's okay to tell somebody, hey,
I'm busy.
I'm sorry. Party's over. You guys got to go.
Well,
That's
it's interesting you said that because I learned at your age, I learned a great, if you don't have a plan, somebody else will have a plan for you, or you will fall into somebody else's plan. So that's
It's
incredible.
also you developing your personality and character.
That's
You
great,
know when to say no, and it's enough.
I know.
But also, I think that's also you, I guess, us influencing you that, hey, your mama and your daddy ain't going to pay the bills forever.
Right. Exactly.
They're calling that umbilical cord little by little, and you're going to have to be on your own. You're your own man, and living alone. I think I wish I would have had that at your age, to have lived at a young age alone, because you get the real reality of what it is to be
100%.
on your own and what it is to survive, because you're surviving when you
it's a
start.
big difference. Yeah, living on your own.
Makes you mature.
Yeah.
Quickly.
And I think, when you're on your own, sometimes it can lead to other things. Like it can lead to you smoking weed. And you feel like, if I have all this time, I might as well just pass it by smoking a joint, and then it'll pass quicker or slower. I don't know.
So what were you able to do with this? So tell us habits. I want to hear.
So, I mean, I used to smoke weed. I do it occasionally, but I really don't do it as much as I used to. I used to do it like every day.
Right.
And after I stopped doing it every day, I just think that it made me start thinking more about my time and start implementing that idea of it's okay to be selfish with your personal time. Like trying to build something for yourself. And I think that there are
that wanting to build for yourself. It seems like you're finding your why.
I would say the why is just, sitting and playing a video game for 2 hours or 3 hours. And you're like, wow, I just had all that time pass by and I did not accomplish anything.
Beautiful.
Very few people at your age
Yeah.
even have that thought.
Yeah.
I never thought. I played video games for over like 24.
So guys, I want to stay very practical. So number one, you stopped watching porn. Very little. Second, you said, you know what, weed every day is not good. Yeah, can you do that occasionally? What about vaping? You said you vape occasionally. What did you use?
Socially.
Did you use to vape more often?
I never, it was weird because in South America, it's a very popular thing to do, like smoking.
Oh, it's a lot over there in South America as well?
Yeah, and they do a lot of like chain smoking. It's more like cigarettes, which is probably, and it's interesting because they're banning vapes in a lot of states and also over there.
Here in the United States or over there?
Apparently somewhere in the state. I don't know where.
Wow.
I'm not sure
I
if
hope
that's,
they do. They
if that's
should.
true. Somebody fact check me, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's actually good though, because when I was just smoking cigarettes, I felt like, it was a bad habit, but it didn't feel like I was doing it all the time. Yeah. And then as soon as like I got into the vaping, then it was kind of more like, okay, I can do this whenever.
Yeah, it's instant.
And,
You can pull it
and
out
I
and
think
smoke.
that's still a struggle that I have, and a lot of my friends have as well. It's like, I don't want to buy a vape, but
if something's there.
Yeah,
Take a-
Again,
So,
remember what I
so
told
you're
for 3
reducing
times.
your habits. You're reducing the
I'm
use. You're
mitigating the
trying.
problems as much as I can.
Beautiful. So a lot of good habits already. Now, talk to me about exercise because you have a six-pack
Nutrition, yeah.
that doesn't come naturally. Nutrition
Right.
and exercise.
I think you guys told me once, you said, if you eat right, everything else is like gonna come.
Everything starts to fall in
So
place.
I've always just like tried to not eat out. I always make myself breakfast.
Nice.
You know, I'm a college student, so I can't
kinda
live that
poor.
lavish. I get, a carton of eggs and
Eggs are the best. So
tell me
you're
about
off to
reading
good side.
labels.
reading labels. So added sugar, you guys told me about that. It changed my life. After I started looking at the added sugar on the back, I was like, wow, this is like so much sugar that I never even noticed was there, because usually you just look at sugars, and then when you see that, you're like, oh wait, there's actually a lot more than
How
I'm
much is
saying.
one little block of sugar again? How many grams? Do you guys remember?
1 gram.
No,
One-
it's more. I think it's
Yeah, I think it's like 4 grams or something.
Oh, you mean a block?
The little block.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're high.
So good. So you're eating less sugar.
Yeah.
You're reading labels.
Big time.
You're definitely exercising. You're lifting weights.
Yeah, I exercised the other day and I'm so sore.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
Feeling sore is good.
And you implemented amino acids. I know that.
Yes, I like I have a lot of energy when I take the amino acids. Like if I wake up and I just do it first thing before I eat anything, I feel like my digestive system, everything feels like it's in line. Right?
That's exactly what it does.
Yeah, it feels way better. I mean, sometimes if you drink the night before and then you take amino acids, you're gonna regret that. You're gonna regret it.
Never tried that.
I never tried that.
Yeah.
I won't
Take it
try
while you're
I'll
partying.
I'll take it.
That much,
Advice from a 21-year-old.
But it actually helped with the hangover because it like cured my hangover even quicker.
Late
Just
after
drink it
that.
while you're partying. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Put it in
I'm
your
like,
whiskey.
guys, I got the snow. All right.
Yeah, at least you got the healthy stuff.
Like, what's this shit? It's bad, man.
So guys, we've focused a lot on the physical body changes that you made. Again, kudos to you for doing all this. But you know me, I got to talk about mindset and spirituality.
Yeah.
So through all this, let's talk about mindset first and what I've seen through you, because you were able to do this. Those are hard decisions. So you're building resilience. You're building delayed gratification.
Yes.
It's not always smoking, drinking, doing the things that pleases you now. You let it happen later.
Yeah.
So this is what's going to make you a stronger man, a better man, and a better human. So mental, you heard us talk about this, the mental, what you eat, what you consume, what you watch, who you're around, the 5 people you're around are going to determine who you are, and your thoughts determine your reality. Tell me, have you heard that from us, and how do you implement that into your life?
I think that
to Rudy.
yeah, like that what you started off by saying, building that resilience, it's something that I don't see a lot of, like on a daily basis, like walking around my college campus. You just see everybody get into class, they watch the lecture, and they leave. Nobody wants to get to know anybody anymore because you have your phone right here. This is where the people are. So when you think about human connection and all those topics we were speaking about, I think about the phone, and that's what my generation thinks about. So I've always challenged myself to work on the communication side, because instead of talking only through text, I'm going out there and I'm trying to meet people in person. And that's how I got, most opportunities in my life, by meeting somebody out in the real world and talking to them. And if you actually try to have a conversation with somebody, which is very rare nowadays, people will take that and they'll think, wow, this is somebody who adds value somehow.
And they carry.
Yeah.
They're getting attention. It's funny that you said, because now it's clear and evident. I had heard it, but now through you, it's even more evident. We have more ways of communicating today than ever in history, and it's
100%.
only compounding. It's only accelerating. Yet people feel more disconnected than ever and lonely, which is so
And I think
interesting.
we're 100% agreed. But I think what Rudy said just kind of hits it in the head, where like we're seeing your generation, and maybe I'm biased, I don't know, but this lack of resiliency. right? Because everything comes so easy. Like before we had to work harder for things, right? Where now the communication, like I said, porn, the
Instant gratification.
instant gratification.
That's the
right.
word.
And so many like young people are just accustomed, and they're seeing all their friends do the same thing, right? So it's kind of like a mass herd behavior. And now you have this collective expectancy where people just are not resilient, right? They don't have that
for our society.
It's not good for our society. So it's very rare to see a young man, and I congratulate you for this.
Thank you.
And your parents, I mean, I'm friends with your parents, so you like, it comes from there as well. Like the amount of toughness that they've ingrained and experiences and situations for you to by default get tough. Right. So, we're proud of you that you're part of that group that actually looks for things that are difficult to accomplish and build in resiliency.
And outside of fear and outside of comfort, that's where what you're looking for happens. As you said, you go and make real connections. And you know what? Sometimes you get disappointed. The person didn't respond to you well. They kind of hung up on you, or they don't want to play with you. You feel bad. But you'll find somebody and you have a good relationship.
Yeah.
And thank you for your honesty, man, to
Thank
kind
you.
of share what you shared. That's
What do you feel is the biggest missing factor in your generation and the biggest solution you could put in place?
I think the biggest missing factor, and I mean, I don't know the answers. From
what you've observed.
But something that I think about is letting the emotion lead you. Like, if you feel unhappy. Like let yourself sit with that feeling so you know how it feels instead of hitting a vape or drinking,
Avoiding, escaping it.
or saying it's too hard because I have so many friends who haven't gotten a job this whole semester, and they tell me, and I'm like, well, how many jobs have you applied to? And they're like, oh, only 2. It's like, well, you need to keep applying. You need to keep applying yourself to the things that you want to get better
Trying
at.
to be muscle and I only went to the gym twice.
I love that. Sit with the feeling. That's so true, because every
And
time
then move on.
But you know what that means, though, and this is a very important thing that I've learned in my life, is your threshold for pain. Success comes to threshold of pain, because there's some people that are willing to go harder, faster, more, and acquire more pain than others. Like what he was saying, somebody feels pain, somebody feels sad, somebody feels lonely. They might watch porn, they might hit the vape, or they'll go to the weed. Where you are trying to say, let me sit with this feeling, and where is it coming from, and what do I do about it? And just that thought process alone
Not taking
is
the easy
amazing.
way out.
It's probably intentionally designed that way.
Yeah.
We've led ourselves
100%.
to this point, trying to make money, trying to make products that catch your attention so they can profit from it. But it's been a double-edged sword that has hurt everybody in your generation.
But one thing I want to add to this really quick, we're almost done, guys. It's when you say sit with the feeling, I agree 100%, then move on.
Then move on. Yeah.
Because some people just sit with the feeling and they
stuck.
stay depressed. They're stuck. Now they're like, I'm in my feelings. So you need to acknowledge your feelings.
Yeah.
Look at it in the eyes. Look at your fear. Then you move on. Again, remember my word, no matter what.
No matter what.
You sit with your feelings no matter what it is. And some people have really bad things happen to them. You sit with it. You face it. Then you move on, no matter what it is.
What made you learn that, by the way? That's deep.
That's
profound.
That's from my therapist.
Love it.
What'd you say?
Us?
What'd you say?
Yeah.
You learned it from what?
Therapist.
Wait,
Therapist, yeah.
very something
Shout out
important.
Catalina.
Yes.
Well, listen, that's another thing.
Wait. Something really important, guys.
That's another thing.
Some people look at having a therapist as a
That's a
weakness.
bad thing.
Yeah.
It is the opposite, because a therapist will give you life skills, mental skills that you've learned a lot of this because you've had people around you that you can look up to, and then you have a therapist that helps you put it into everyday life.
But, and 100% agreed. It also, what I would add to that is immature people act out. A responsible adult says, I need to talk to somebody about this. And I get therapy and I deal with it. And so the fact that you actually, first of all, thank you for sharing that. Secondly, the fact that you say it so like,
yes.
commonly like, oh, my
Nonchalant
therapist,
about it.
nonchalant
That's
about it. That's beautiful. And the fact that you could talk and bounce your ideas of another adult who has more experience, and that you actually give that person the respect and you can receive that knowledge and wisdom.
Thank you.
That
Thank you,
alone
guys.
is wise.
You guys are very wise yourselves, and I really enjoyed this conversation.
All right.
I think but last thing is, I think you also what's made you like that. You grew up always around adults.
Yeah.
You've always had the, I guess, luxury or blessing to be around adults that are not
enjoy-
eating crap
Yeah.
and that you see on the hustle and grind like us, you know, and you see shit. What am I going to do in my life?
Yeah, and I think you
Right.
learn like sheltered from a
So
lot of
that impacts.
yeah,
you.
that he was influenced by adults a lot. He wasn't sheltered like most kids are. I mean, he would stay up till late. I would be like, hey, he'll stay with me until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
He
but
was
for
4.
people listening and they have kids who don't have the chance of maybe being around adults, there's still a way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of
you've
course.
been lucky to have this. But no matter where your situation is, because we have teens that are in horrible situations.
Yeah.
That is my no matter what mentality. No matter what situation you find on, you know what you have control on? What you eat, the exercise that you do, how you sleep, what you consume and put in your body, and what you put in your head. You have control over that, even if nothing around you is working.
That's true.
So if we're taking anything out of this, you can change your life at any moment because the power is in you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And start early.
Yeah.
For
That's
sure.
a beautiful way to close out.
I agree. That was
Anthony,
a great
we're
way
proud
to-
of you. Thank you for sharing the
Thank
things that
you,
you shared
Anthony.
today.
Guys.
And for all of you listening, if you have a son or a daughter that's that age, well, this is what it looks like. So thank you for being with us today, man. We appreciate it. And for you guys
so
listening,
much.
Follow us, like us, share, and
all that, stay
for now,
healthy.
stay healthy.
God bless.